Hello, welcome back to the Team Turner YouTube channel. If you've watched my channel for the last couple of years, there has been a lot of sporadic content. I've done a lot of show coverage of different places I've been, some cruises, some events. I've done some builds. I've, mild stuff, projects, how-tos. It's been all over the place. One thing that I haven't done that I realized I probably should have a long time ago was formally introduce you all to the actual cars, the real stars of this channel eventually, anyway. Um, so when I do a project or I do an upgrade, when I do any sort of modification or a build of any sort, even when I take it to a show or just go for a drive or whatever, when I bring you along, you'll at least know what the vehicle is, how it's built, what's going on with it, current status of things. Some of the stuff I ramble on about might make more sense then. But if you're anything like me, you enjoy the technical aspects of this stuff and you enjoy um, the mechanicals and just nerding out about it. So hold on to your seat. I'm going to take you along, and the first vehicle I'm going to introduce you to is my 1998 Volvo V70R. So first I'll start with the backstory. This car is a 1998 Volvo V70R station wagon, obviously. It has a 2.3 liter 5-cylinder, turbocharged, all-wheel drive, automatic for now. They didn't make them in a manual in the States, but you can do that. We'll get into that later. Um, it has 280 something thousand miles at this point in time, and it has been thoroughly gone through by me, and still needs a bunch more. To tell the story of this car, I need to go back in time and briefly mention my other Volvo, a 1998 C70, which is a coupe. It's the same orange. It's called Saffron Orange. That car started me down this path of collecting odd orange Volvos from 1998. Um, the C70 was obviously before kids, two-door, little sports car. I'll do another video on that one later, but that one started my obsession with these cars. They're great. They're fantastic. But 2014, 2015 or so, we're going to have another child, needed a vehicle. We had dogs. So perfect solution is a station wagon based on a platform of the car we already had and loved at the time. So couldn't just have a normal one. They make them in base model, no turbo. There's turbo versions. There's the R, which is the super kind of more performance oriented one, which is this one. And so couldn't leave well enough alone, had to start looking for a saffron orange car to match the coupe. Now they only made, I don't know the exact numbers, a few hundred coupes, a few hundred wagons that ever made it to the States in this color. They only made them in 1998, etc. So the options were very limited, and we had to go to actually Detroit, and not a great part of Detroit, to get this car. I couldn't find one in the color because I kind of wanted them to match. So this is the only one I could find at the time, at a shady dealer in a bad part of Detroit. Went up, got it. It had a bunch of problems, but I got it for a decent price. Um, the previous owner had riced it out a little bit. It had this fart can on it. It had tinted tail lights. It was a mess. Window tint that was done by somebody that had no business doing window tint. And all the maintenance that had been done wrong, and the rest of it needed to be done. So it was a full project that I intended to bring home and, in short notice, use as a daily driver in a family car, as that goes. Immediately, I dove in and did the maintenance, timing belt, water pump, PCV system, all the seals, everything that could have leaked, anything that could have been a problem. Got it all caught up and drove it in that form, just kind of put together enough to be a daily driver for a couple of years, and eventually started modifying stuff. So right now, the way the car sits, engine-wise, the engine is stock. There's some little deletes and additions and things here and there just to make it more efficient. It has a turbo from a 1999 V70R, which is a little bit bigger exhaust housing and an angled flange instead of a straight exhaust flange, which I guess flows a little bit better. And that's really about it as far as the engine goes. Stock airbox, stock everything. Um, the exhaust is a 3-inch downpipe, goes back and kind of uh, reduces down to a 2.5-inch halfway back, and then splits into a Euro Sport tuning catback exhaust that has seen better days, but it still works for now. Um, the all-wheel drive is still intact. I went through, oh God, probably 7 or 8 years ago, pulled the entire rear subframe out, and I replaced every serviceable part that I could touch in that subframe. Every bushing, every mount, every wiring item, every sensor, the fuel pumps, everything in that has been replaced. I even put new Euro Nivomats on it, which was a waste of money because I'm probably going to be selling those. But rebuilt all of that, put it all back together, and as far as the suspension goes now, it is on modified rear springs. They're just cut springs with Euro Nivomats, which are a little lower. They're rear shocks that as you drive it and they kind of pump up and down, they will support more weight. So I can put lumber in the back of this. I can put weight in the back of it. It doesn't matter. Shoot, I've had a whole go-kart in the back of this car before. Engines, it doesn't matter. It's great. The shocks work great, but they ride really bad because they're lowered more than they should be, and it's just kind of been a product of my own creation that I thought would turn out better than it did. All the maintenance is caught up, and everything works. I made a point that this was going to be a daily driver, so the heater core, all the dash motors and vent, HVAC controls and stuff have all been replaced. The air conditioning works. All of it's been done. All of it works. It's a fantastic car. Fantastic to be in, no matter what the weather is. The suspension, it's got some Max Peating rods coilovers up front, which are very short lived. Um, I got on a kick at one point and bought a few sets of them. They worked great for a year and now they're junk, which is kind of how they work. Um, but they are going to get replaced. Since that time, BC has released coilovers for both versions of my Volvo, the front wheel drive C70 and the all wheel drive V70R. So it's going to get BCs on it really soon because it doesn't ride very good. But currently, it's got those crappy coilovers on the front. It's got Euro style Nivomat shocks on the back, which are load leveling with cut springs and bolts to fool it and make it look like it does. Looks great, rides very marginal at the moment. Also has an OBX strut brace up front. Um, I think that's all in the suspension. Like I said, it's short lived. It's going to get some BC coilovers and get some things gone through. It's also got Yother rear toe links because it's lowered so low. The stock ones wouldn't really reach where I needed them to go. So I got a set of the Yother blue powder coated arms, and they've been great. Got to put some bushings in them soon, but they are holding up just fine. Moving on to the outside, the body is obviously for the most part stock. I've left the original color alone. It's got a lot of repairs on it. This car's been hit before I had it several different times in several places, so um, it looks okay for what it is. But it'll eventually get a repaint. Still has the original R front bumper. I have a cross country XC grill. I have some Farron LED headlights, fog lights, and high beams, and they are fantastic. Eventually, I'd like to get maybe some jewel headlights, the crystal ones. They're a little pricey, and I have a hard time spending that because I'd have to do it on both cars. So maybe in the future I'll do that, but not right now. Um, it has the optional R spoiler on the hatch. Had to go get one of those, have it painted to match. And another thing I've done on this car that's a little bit unique is I've actually painted the mud flaps, the plastic mud flaps. I painted them saffron orange to match the car. I think it just kind of fills it in the bottom a little bit better, makes it look a little lower, ties everything together a little nicer. So obviously replaced the riced out tinted taillights that were on it with some factory V70 taillights. And really, that's about it. The body is for the most part stock. I did put a cross-country XC roof rack on it because I do like having the utility. Sometimes I put lumber up there or have to carry stuff. I know a lot of people delete them, so it's more sleek, but I kind of like having the utility of it. I think it's fun. Someday I'll get a roof box, I think, maybe, and paint it to match. I'm not sure yet, but I would like to do that. That would be cool. All right, so the wheels and wheels that are on it are 17-inch factory Volvo Comet wheels. They're called Comets. They came on the C70s as an option. They're kind of rare. They're kind of hard to find. I do have enough of them. I will have a full-size spare as soon as this set of tires gets replaced. I'm going to get 5 and get a full-size spare in it, which will be awesome for the all-wheel drive. And yeah, it's got some cheap Chinese tires on it that have held up for way too long. It does have the factory 302 millimeter, I guess it's an upgrade big brake kit. Factory, they were 295 millimeter brakes. It's got 302s on it now from a newer model V70R that fit. They work great. They're painted blue because I think blue looks good with orange, and I don't care if it's ricey. Under the hood, nothing real special. It's for the most part stock. Like I said, it's got silicone radiator hoses. Anything that coolant touches, silicone hoses. It has a little bit bigger turbo from a 99 V70R. There's the OBX strut brace. You can see the top of the cheap coilovers. It is wired for a stereo, which I have in the back. So there's the fuse. There's all that. Silicone intercooler hose couplings, and pretty much everything maintenance-wise has been touched. But just a functional. I call it functional. It's not a car I'm going to pop the hood at a show, but it works and it's clean, and I'll take it. So getting into the interior of these cars, that's where they really went and made them special. The R has nicer door panels that have kind of a stitched section right here, as opposed to just cloth that a lot of times comes loose and gets floppy and stuff. Has the iconic diamond stitch suede in the seats. I replaced the steering wheel with a leather one because the suede on the steering wheels in these gets nasty. It has gauge cluster with blue backs on the dials. Can't really see them, but they're there. That's a factory V70R thing. Pre-wired for radar detector. Got the dark walnut center trim, shifter trim, the glove box door trim. I also went and got an IPD gauge pod for the pillar. It's got a boost gauge down here, a wideband AFR gauge, and a volt gauge. It's got a Kenwood touchscreen, but I replaced the entire factory system, which is kind of built in. I had to replace all of it. There's stuff underneath the passenger seat, amps, and things like that. All that's been replaced and completely redone. So that got the automatic charger. This little cubby pocket came on newer V70Rs, and mine didn't have it, so that's kind of just a cool piece I got. I'll get into the rear. Volvo also did some cool stuff with the rear. So these seats, and I got these from Handy Dan Malley up in Michigan. He switched me out because I had kids. Now these seats pop, and they are actually factory booster seats. So you can actually have your kids in these with the regular seat belts as a booster. They're legal, they work, and they're fantastic to save you having to deal with a booster seat for small kids. So they go back down, they look normal. Yeah, diamond stitch seats back here also. All right, getting into the back of the car. Volvo really thought these out pretty good too. So in the back of the seats, you can actually flip these panels down, and there is like a dog net kind of a deal you can put up here. They hook into the ceiling. They've got really good storage. The remnants of the previous ricing out that it had, somebody painted the handles in the floor, but whatever. I use the back like an actual pickup truck. The seats fold down flat, including the front passenger seat actually folds completely down flat. So I can put 8-inch lumber inside of this car and shut the hatch, which is a really nice feature. But if I want to put it up on the dash, I can actually get 10-foot lumber inside of this car, going from diagonal all the way up to the front. It's pretty impressive. So, all right, a couple of years ago, I actually got around to putting a stereo in this car. So what it has is infinity Kappas all the way around. It's got the tweeters that mount up here in the front also. It's got a 12-inch Infinity subwoofer, a shallow mount in this custom box that I made that fits in the corner. So I wanted to make sure that this could fit, the straps if I needed to tie something down to the factory anchor point here. All that was kind of accounted for. I didn't want it to take up too much space. So it works. It sounds great for being a shallow setup. Over here is the amp for it. Just a little kicker amp. Works great. The whole setup is wonderful. Don't mind it's a little dirty. It had a transmission in it last week. And then, yeah, storage underneath the floor also. It's 2 whole different compartments. It's great. And when I was putting the stereo in, I cleaned the interior all up, put a bunch of sound deadening in here, and because I am kind of a racer at heart, I added these awesome little blue LEDs on the floor. I think it looks wonderful. They're not too bright. They don't distract you when you're driving at night, but they just set the mood. So what I was going for here, and I think I've kind of accomplished, is a daily driver that is sporty, fun, utilitarian, functional, kind of does everything pretty well. And I think that I've accomplished that really well with this car. It sounds good, but it's not annoying to drive it as far as noise goes. It's got a good stereo. It's comfy. It's been honestly very reliable considering the mileage, considering the previous owners and how it was maintained, um, and the fact that I beat the tar out of this thing on a daily basis. It's fantastic. A lot better, a lot more reliable than I thought it was going to be when I bought it. In the future, so future plans for this car, which I'm going to get into in a future video. It's kind of why I wanted to introduce it now. I'm going to go ahead and redo some of the suspension. So it's, like I said, it's going to get some BC coilovers. I'm going to redo some of the bushings that are kind of creaky and clunky from years of driving on them. And there's a exhaust leak coming from the Eurosport axle back. There's a flange that has got a little rust on it. I'm going to patch that up. I believe it also has an exhaust gasket up in the pre-turbo that might be leaking a little bit. I can hear it. So just maintenance things. I'm going to do all that. And then the end-all be-all is going to be a transmission, which I'm kind of looking for. I think I have a lead on one. Maybe we'll see. But I am going to put the 6-speed manual out of like either a S60R or possibly like a S40 or V50 that came with a 6-speed. It will work with the all-wheel drive setup that is already in the car. It's going to have double overdrive, I think. It's got really crazy highway ratios, which would be awesome for just hypersonic cruising, going really fast and not turning a bunch of RPMs. Plus, it's a manual. So working on collecting all that stuff up. I have most of it. I have the pedals, I have shifters, I have things like that. I just need to get the transmission and clutch figured out and the axles. That's kind of the last piece. And then I may do some cosmetic things with the paint to just clean it up. But in my opinion, it's the perfect daily driver. I can drive it in the winter. I actually did drive it in the winter for a few years with with a cross-country front bumper, some pie pan wheels and snow tires, and it slid everywhere on its belly, but it worked, and it got me around until I got my truck. I do drive it in the winter if I need to, but most of the time it's pretty much done seeing salt and snow. But it has had rust repairs and things like that done on it, so I don't feel too bad if it ever needs to get used. So yeah, there you go. That's the intro to the 98 Volvo V70R, and hope you enjoyed it. And I would look forward to lots more videos on this one coming soon. There's going to be some cool modifications and some neat content coming for this one. I'm going to introduce the other cars here soon, but I wanted to get started on this one because it's going to be one of the earlier projects on the channel. I'm going to tear into it and make it even better. Thanks for nerding out with me.
Keep it on the car.